Hello, this is the first of two videos for graphing a trig function using the 5-point method. Alright, before we start this lesson on transformations, just a reminder of what our basic functions for sine and cosine look like. F of x is equal to sine x is graphed in red, and f of x is equal to cosine x is graphed in blue. Remember the ordered pairs that you see here. For sine would be the ordered pair theta, sine theta, and again these values come directly from your unit circle. For f of x is equal to cosine x, these values are theta and cosine theta. Knowing how you generate these ordered pairs from your unit circle will help you as we move into this transformation lesson. So take a minute, make sure you absorb this before you move on. All right, let's find 5 critical points and then graph the function that you see here. Perhaps you want to pause the video just for a second and copy the function down. What we want to think about first is, what does our general sine function look like in transformation form? Remember, that's given in terms of a, b, c, and d. Remember that your value of a helps you determine the amplitude of your function. B helps you determine the period of the function. C is the horizontal shift or phase shift, and D is the vertical displacement of the function. Another idea that you want to consider would be that if your A value is a positive value, for a sine curve, you would start on your D line, you would go up to a maximum, back to your D line, down to a minimum, and back up to your D line, just in general. If A were a negative value, it would look a little bit different. You would, again, start on your D line, but you would go down to the minimum, back to your D line, up to a maximum, and then back down to the D line. Just reviewing some of those general characteristics will help us as we begin this process. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to identify A, C, and D. These are easy to identify, and they help us have a general understanding of the function before we even put anything on a graph. So we identify our A value as 3. We identify our C value as 4. Now remember, in the general formula, it's written as x minus c, and I know from even 171, you remember that minus represents a shift to the right, and plus would represent a shift to the left. This is going to be a shift 4 units to the right, or a horizontal shift of 4 units to the right. And then our D value happens to be -2, so that tells us that we're going to be down 2 from the original graph of sine x. Now that we've taken care of our very first step, identifying A, C, and D, the next thing that we want to do is use our B value, which is pi over 2, and we want to use that B value to find our period. So we basically say that our period is equal to 2 pi over B, therefore our period is equal to 2 pi divided by pi over 2, which gives us a period of 4 units. Completing the finding of our period now allows us to be able to look at graphing this. Okay, so let's use the information that we've just found to help us find 5 main points and graph this. What I like to start off by doing is putting my D line on the function. So my D line is at -2. That's also the horizontal line, y is equal to -2, just for reference. The next thing that I would look at is I would look at our phase shift or our horizontal shift. And what we can see is that a normal sine curve starts at 0, but this sine curve is going to start 4 units to the right, or where we're going to start our curve anyway will be 4 units to the right. Our very first point, therefore, will be on the D line at the point 4, -2. The second point that I like to find is the fifth point, actually, the final point. That actually comes from where we determined that our period was 4. So 4 units from 4 would take us to 8. Our graph will end, or the portion of our graph will end at the point 8, -2. So we know that our graph will complete one entire cycle from 4, -2 to 8, -2. We also know that the graph will cross the midline again halfway through the cycle. That would be the point 6, -2. Now, all we have left to do is determine the maximum and minimum values and what happens first. Because our A value is a +3, we know that we're going to go up to our maximum value first after our initial point of 4, -2. We want to take 3 and add that to -2, which would allow us to see that we're going to have a maximum value at 1. It would be halfway between 4 and 6, or at 5. So at 5, 1, I have my maximum. The next thing I would look at is where my minimum value occurs. My minimum value occurs halfway between 6 and 8, or at an x value of 7, and I want to subtract 3 from -2, which would take me down to -5, giving me my fifth and final point, 7, -5. We'll put all this together next. All right, so here is a sketch that is a little bit neater than what we were working on in the last slide. You can see my 5 main points, 4, -2, 5, 1, 6, -2, 7, -5, 8, -2. I have my D line at -2. Once I have my 5 points, I've shown my D line. At that point, really, just understanding that I can take and draw a smooth curve through those 5 points, and I'm all done. That's really all there is to graphing this. Hope this short video has helped. I'm going to show one more in another video.